There exists, in the deepest chambers of your mind, a power so profound it has shaped civilizations, built empires, and transformed ordinary men and women into legends. This power, this alchemy of consciousness, is what separates those who merely exist from those who truly live. It is what distinguishes the extraordinary from the ordinary, the achiever from the dreamer, the architect of destiny from the prisoner of circumstance. This power is nothing less than the ability to convert mere thoughts into pure, solid gold. You stand now at a crossroads. One path leads to a life of mediocrity, of unrealized potential, of dreams that wither and die in the harsh light of inaction. The other leads to greatness, to abundance, to a life so rich with purpose and achievement that your very existence becomes an inspiration to generations yet unborn. The choice between these paths is not made by fate, by circumstance, or by the hands of others. It is made in the silent sanctuary of your own mind, in that sacred space where thought transforms into destiny. Consider this truth. Every magnificent achievement in human history began as a single thought in a single mind. The great Spanish architectural marvels that touch the skies of Barcelona and Seville, the literary masterpieces of Cervantes, the revolutionary artistic vision of Picasso, all began as invisible impulses of thought. Before manifesting in the visible world, the same creative power pulses within you at this very moment, waiting to be harnessed, directed, and transformed into tangible, golden reality. The universe itself operates on immutable laws, principles as certain as gravity, as reliable as the rising sun. Among these, none is more powerful than the law of cause and effect, the principle that your thoughts, infused with emotional energy and sustained by unwavering belief, must inevitably crystallize into physical form. This is not mysticism. It is the practical science of achievement that has been understood and applied by history's greatest minds. Andrew Carnegie, a man who rose from poverty to become one of the wealthiest industrialists in history, understood this principle intimately. He knew that wealth begins in the mind before it manifests in the material world. His vast steel empire, which would be worth billions in today's currency, was first forged in the furnace of his imagination. But there is a crucial distinction that separates those who merely understand this principle from those who actually transform their lives through its application. Knowledge without action is like a seed that never touches soil, full of potential, yet ultimately fruitless. To convert your thoughts into gold, you must first understand the precise mechanism by which thought energy transmutes into physical reality, and then you must apply this understanding with relentless persistence until your desired outcome is achieved. The transformation begins with crystal clarity. Vague wishes and nebulous desires lack the energetic focus necessary for manifestation. When Thomas Edison set out to create the electric light bulb, he did not merely wish for a better way to illuminate the darkness. He formed a precise, detailed mental image of what he intended to create, and he held this image with such intensity that failure after failure, thousands of them, could not diminish his certainty of eventual success. This is the power of definiteness, of purpose, the first step in the alchemy of thought to gold conversion. Look deeply into your own heart. What do you truly desire? What achievement, if realized, would fill your life with meaning and your soul with satisfaction? Whatever this vision may be: financial abundance, professional mastery, profound love, vibrant health — you must define it with such precision that you could describe it to a blind person, and they would see exactly what you see. This clarity becomes the blueprint from which your mind will work, the pattern that thought energy will follow as it crystallizes into form. But clarity alone is insufficient. The universe responds not merely to the intellectual content of your thoughts, but to their emotional intensity. Desire is the energetic fuel that powers the engine of achievement. Napoleon Hill discovered this truth through his extensive interviews with the most successful men and women of his era. Those who achieved greatness were invariably those who wanted their goal with such burning intensity that it consumed their every waking moment and infiltrated their dreams. This is not casual interest or mild preference. This is desire that borders on obsession, a hunger so profound it cannot be denied. Ask yourself, does your desire for achievement burn with this intensity? Or is it merely a pleasant notion, A wouldn't it be nice thought that lacks the energetic force to overcome the inevitable obstacles. On the path to realization, the man or woman who wants success with only moderate enthusiasm will surrender at the first significant challenge, but the one whose desire burns like an inextinguishable flame will find a way through, round, or over any barrier that dares to stand in their path. The Spanish conquistador Hernan Cortés understood the power of burning desire. When he landed on the shores of Mexico in 1519, he ordered his men to burn their ships, eliminating any possibility of retreat. This total commitment, this burning of bridges, created a situation where success was the only acceptable outcome. Your mind must adopt this same unflinching commitment to your chosen goal. Eliminate all pathways of retreat. Burn your mental ships. Create a psychological state where achievement is not merely preferred, but absolutely necessary. With clarity of vision and intensity of desire established, the alchemy of thought to gold conversion now requires the catalytic ingredient of unwavering belief. Your conscious mind may understand intellectually that thoughts create reality, but unless this understanding penetrates to the deeper level of subconscious acceptance, the seeds of your desires will fall on barren ground. The subconscious mind is literal and absolute. It does not question or analyze. It simply accepts and acts upon the thoughts and beliefs that are repeatedly impressed upon it. In the laboratory of your consciousness, doubt is a corrosive acid that dissolves the golden potential of your thoughts before they can manifest. Faith, conversely, is the essential element that allows thought energy to coalesce into physical form. When Henry Ford declared his intention to create a V8 engine, cast in a single block, something his engineers insisted was impossible, he did not allow their doubt to contaminate his own certainty. Produce it anyway, he commanded, and his unshakable belief eventually compelled reality to conform to his vision. This quality of faith, of absolute certainty in the eventual realization of your desire, cannot be faked or forced. It must be cultivated through a deliberate process of mental conditioning. The average mind is saturated with limiting beliefs, negative assumptions, and self-imposed restrictions, many of which operate below the level of conscious awareness. These mental obstacles must be identified and systematically eliminated before the seeds of desire can take root and flourish. Begin by examining your current beliefs about what is possible for you. When you contemplate your most ambitious goals, what inner voice speaks of limitations, of reasons why you cannot achieve what you desire? This voice, the accumulated programming of past failures, parental warnings, societal expectations, and misinterpreted experiences, is the guardian of your comfort zone, the invisible prison that confines your potential to transform thought into gold. You must first free yourself from these self-imposed restraints by challenging and rewriting the limiting narratives that play in the theater of your mind. The process of belief transformation follows the scientific principle that new neural pathways are formed through consistent repetition. Whatever you repeatedly tell yourself with emotional conviction eventually becomes your reality. This is why affirmations, when properly formulated and charged with genuine emotion, can gradually reshape your subconscious landscape. But mere mechanical repetition of positive phrases accomplishes nothing. The words must be felt, experienced, and accepted at the deepest level of your being. Imagine yourself already in possession of your desired outcome. See it, feel it, taste it. Live it in the theater of your mind with such vivid intensity that your subconscious cannot distinguish between this mental rehearsal and physical reality. The great inventor Nikola Tesla used this technique to test his inventions mentally. Before constructing them physically, he would visualize his machines with such precision that he could detect and correct design flaws before investing time and resources in physical prototypes. In the same way, you must become so intimately familiar with the reality you intend to create that your mind accepts it as an inevitability rather than a mere possibility. As your belief solidifies into unshakable conviction, the alchemy of thought to gold conversion enters its next crucial phase, the translation of mental energy into physical action. Action without clear thought lacks direction and wastes precious energy, but thought without corresponding action remains forever in the realm of fantasy. It is in the union of precise thought and appropriate action that the magic of manifestation occurs. Understand this fundamental truth. The universe responds not to what you say you want, not even to what you think you want, but to what you demonstrate you want through your consistent actions. If you claim to desire financial abundance, yet consistently avoid opportunities to increase your knowledge and skills in your chosen field, your actions betray your words. If you profess to want vibrant health yet consistently make choices that undermine your physical well-being, your behaviors reveal your true level of commitment. Many who fail in the art of converting thoughts to gold make the critical error of waiting for inspiration before taking action. They believe that the proper emotional state must precede effective action, but those who achieve greatness understand that this equation is often reversed. Action generates inspiration, rather than requiring it as a prerequisite. When Pablo Picasso found himself lacking creative motivation, he did not wait passively for the muse to strike. He picked up his brushes and began to work, knowing that the very act of creation would summon the creative energies he sought. This principle applies to every area of achievement. The writer who waits for inspiration will produce nothing, while the one who sits down to write regardless of mood will find that inspiration emerges from the act itself. The entrepreneur who waits for perfect conditions before launching a venture will remain forever in preparation mode, while the one who begins with whatever resources are currently available will learn, adapt, and progress through direct experience. The actions you take need not be perfect or comprehensive. They must simply be consistent and aligned with your ultimate objective. Rome was not built in a day, nor is any worthwhile achievement realized in a single burst of effort. The great Cathedral of the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona has been under construction for over a century. Yet each stone laid, each detail crafted, brings this architectural masterpiece closer to completion. Your own magnificent goals will likewise be realized through the accumulated effect of thousands of individual actions, each one a step on the staircase to your ultimate destination. As you align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions toward your chosen objective, you activate another essential principle in the alchemy of thought to gold conversion: the power of concentrated focus. The human mind, though vast in its potential, is limited in its capacity for conscious attention. Whatever occupies your mental focus grows in prominence and power, while whatever is neglected gradually fades from your awareness and, consequently, from your experience. The selective focus explains why two people can encounter identical circumstances, yet extract entirely different outcomes. The mind that focuses on problems sees obstacles everywhere. The mind that focuses on solutions discovers opportunities in every challenge. The investor who focuses exclusively on potential losses becomes paralyzed by fear. The one who recognizes risk yet focuses primarily on potential gains acts with calculated boldness and reaps the corresponding rewards. To master the art of converting thoughts to gold, you must become the deliberate director of your mental focus, rather than a passive responder to external stimuli. This requires the development of mental discipline, the ability to hold your attention fixed on your desired outcome regardless of temporary setbacks or distractions. Just as a magnifying glass can focus scattered sunlight into a concentrated beam, powerful enough to ignite a fire, your focused mental energy can ignite the manifestation of your most ambitious desires. The technique of visualization serves as a powerful tool for developing this focused concentration. Contrary to popular misconception, effective visualization is not mere passive daydreaming. It is an active, engaging mental exercise that programs both your conscious and subconscious mind for achievement. When you visualize with full sensory involvement, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, and smelling the reality you intend to create, you activate the same neural pathways that would fire during the actual experience. Olympic athletes have long understood this principle. The skier who mentally rehearses every turn, every shift and weight, every nuance of a perfect run is literally programming their nervous system for optimal performance. Studies have shown that this mental practice activates many of the same muscles, though to a lesser degree, that are used in the physical activity itself. In the same way, your visualization of business success, creative achievement, or personal transformation literally prepares your mind and body to recognize and act upon the opportunities that lead to your goal. Yet even as you maintain this concentrated focus on your desired outcome, you must cultivate a quality that seems, at first glance, to contradict this singular attention: adaptability. The path from thought to manifestation rarely follows a straight line. Unexpected obstacles arise, new information emerges, market conditions change. The rigid mind that insists on following the original plan regardless of changing circumstances will often fail where the adaptable mind succeeds. Consider the journey of Ferran Adrià, the Spanish chef whose restaurant El Bulli was repeatedly named the best in the world. Adrià's journey to culinary greatness was not a linear progression, but a series of creative adaptations. When traditional techniques proved insufficient for his vision, he pioneered molecular gastronomy. When conventional restaurant models limited his creative expression, he transformed El Bulli into a culinary laboratory that operated as a restaurant. For only 6 months each year, his adaptability in service of a clear vision enabled him to convert his thoughts into gold in ways that a more rigid approach would have prevented. This adaptability must be balanced with persistence, that indomitable quality that refuses to accept defeat regardless of temporary setbacks. History's greatest achievers were invariably those who encountered numerous failures, yet refused to equate these temporary defeats with ultimate failure. When Thomas Edison was asked about the thousands of unsuccessful attempts he made before inventing a functional light bulb, he famously replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This perspective transforms apparent failure from a discouraging endpoint into a valuable stepping stone toward eventual success. The true master of thought-to-gold conversion understands that failure is not merely an acceptable part of the journey, it is an essential component, providing the feedback and course corrections necessary for ultimate achievement. Consider failure as the universe's way of refining your approach, of steering you toward the path of least resistance between your current reality and your desired outcome. The entrepreneur whose first venture fails gains invaluable knowledge that increases the probability of success in subsequent endeavors. The artist whose early works are rejected develops the resilience and skill that eventually produce masterpieces. As you progress in your journey of converting thoughts into gold, you will inevitably encounter the resistance of those who cannot perceive your vision. Friends and family, operating from genuine concern, may advise you to be more realistic, to set your sights lower, to accept the limitations they themselves have accepted. Colleagues may dismiss your innovative ideas as impractical or unnecessary. Society at large may regard your ambitions with skepticism or outright dismissal. In these moments of external opposition, your internal clarity and conviction become your greatest allies. Remember that visionaries throughout history have faced similar resistance. When Miguel de Cervantes wrote Don Quixote, many considered it a mere entertaining satire rather than the literary revolution it proved to be. When Antoni Gaudí designed his architectural masterpieces, many dismissed his organic forms as bizarre or impractical. Yet these visionaries, secure in their inner knowing, persisted in manifesting their unique vision despite external skepticism. The alchemist of thought-to-gold conversion recognizes that not everyone will understand or support their vision, nor should they expect such universal approval. The masses, conditioned by conventional thinking and comfortable within established paradigms, rarely recognize revolutionary ideas in their embryonic stage. Your responsibility is not to convince everyone of your vision's merit, but to remain so unshakably convinced yourself that your conviction eventually manifests as undeniable physical reality. This unwavering commitment to your vision must be balanced with a quality often overlooked in conventional success literature: genuine humility. True humility is not self-deprecation or the denial of your capabilities. It is the honest recognition that your achievements build upon the knowledge, effort, and sacrifice of countless others who came before you. It is the acknowledgement that your success depends not only on your own efforts, but on the cooperation and contribution of many minds working in concert toward a common objective. The arrogant mind, believing itself solely responsible for its achievements, eventually isolates itself from the very networks of support and collaboration essential for sustained success. The humble mind, recognizing its interdependence with others naturally attracts the resources, partnerships, and opportunities necessary for the manifestation of its grandest visions. As Andrew Carnegie observed, no man becomes rich unless he enriches others along the way. This principle operates not merely in financial realms but in every dimension of achievement. In your journey of converting thoughts into gold, you will discover that your influence expands in direct proportion to your willingness to credit and elevate others. The leader who celebrates team contributions rather than claiming personal credit creates an environment where innovation flourishes. The entrepreneur who focuses on creating value for customers rather than extracting maximum profit builds a sustainable enterprise that withstands market fluctuations. The artist who seeks to serve the highest expression of their craft rather than their own ego produces work that resonates across generations. As your thoughts begin to crystallize into physical reality, as the evidence of your success becomes increasingly apparent, you face a critical decision point at crossroads where many potentially great achievers falter. Will you become complacent, resting on your initial achievements and allowing your once burning desire to cool into comfortable satisfaction? Or will you recognize each success as a stepping stone to even greater achievement, maintaining the hunger and drive that initiated your journey? The history of achievement is littered with the stories of those who tasted initial success only to stagnate through complacency. Conversely, those who achieve lasting greatness maintain a perpetual hunger for growth, for expansion, for the conquest of new territories in their chosen field. Walt Disney, having revolutionized animation with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, did not rest on this unprecedented achievement, but immediately began planning Fantasia, an even more ambitious artistic vision. Having created the world's first theme park, he envisioned an experimental prototype community of tomorrow. His insatiable creative appetite ensured that each achievement became the foundation for the next, rather than the ceiling of his aspiration. This quality, the refusal to become satisfied with any level of achievement, distinguishes the truly great from the merely successful. It is not driven by discontent or ingratitude, but by the recognition that human potential is virtually limitless, that each realized goal reveals new horizons previously invisible. The Olympic champion who breaks a world record immediately begins training to surpass their own benchmark. The scientific researcher whose breakthrough answers one question becomes fascinated by the new questions this discovery reveals. The entrepreneur whose company achieves market dominance begins exploring entirely new industries to conquer. In this perpetual expansion of vision and achievement, you discover another crucial aspect of the thought-to-gold conversion process: the power of mastermind association. No significant achievement in human history has been the product of a single, isolated mind. Even the most apparently individual accomplishments, Einstein's theories, Picasso's paintings, Cervantes' novels, emerged from minds deeply engaged with the ideas, challenges, and collaborative energies of their contemporaries and predecessors. Napoleon Hill defined the mastermind principle as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. When minds unite in pursuit of a common objective, they create an energetic third force greater than the sum of the individual intelligences involved. This principle explains why innovation tends to flourish in certain geographical centers where creative minds congregate: Renaissance Florence, Silicon Valley, Barcelona's architectural renaissance under modernism. To maximize your thought-to-gold conversion potential, you must deliberately cultivate relationships with others who elevate your thinking, challenge your limitations, and complement your strengths with their own unique capabilities. These need not be people physically present in your daily life. Through books, recordings, and other media, you can enter into virtual mastermind relationships with the greatest minds in history, absorbing their wisdom and incorporating their thought patterns into your own mental processes. The individuals with whom you regularly associate shape your thinking through a process of mental osmosis, a gradual, often unconscious absorption of their attitudes, expectations, and beliefs. The mind that seeks to rise cannot afford prolonged immersion in low, limited, or negative thinking. Just as a climber seeking the mountain summit must eventually leave the company of those who prefer to remain in the valley, your ascent to extraordinary Achievement may require difficult decisions about which relationships to nurture and which to respectfully minimize. As you implement these principles, clarity of vision, burning desire, unwavering belief, consistent action, focused concentration, balanced adaptability and persistence, selective association, you activate the ultimate catalyst in the thought to gold conversion process, the power of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a pleasant emotion or a social nicety. It is a magnetic force that accelerates the manifestation of your desires by establishing a psychological state of receptivity and abundance. The grateful mind focuses on what it has rather than what it lacks, on what is working rather than what has yet to be achieved. This positive focus, as we have established, attracts corresponding experiences through the law of psychological magnetism. Beyond this, gratitude establishes an energetic relationship with the universe based on appreciation rather than need or demand. Just as you are more inclined to help someone who genuinely appreciates your previous assistance, the creative forces of the universe seem to respond more readily to the mind that acknowledges and celebrates what it has already received. This practice of gratitude must extend beyond the conventional counting of blessings to include appreciation for challenges, obstacles, and apparent failures. Every difficulty contains within it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit, if you have the wisdom to discern it and the patience to nurture it to fruition. The business setback that forces you to reevaluate your strategy may prevent a much larger failure later on. The relationship that ends painfully may clear the path for a connection of much greater depth and fulfillment. The health challenge that disrupts your normal routine may initiate lifestyle changes that ultimately enhance your vitality and longevity. The master alchemist of thought to gold conversion does not merely accept such challenges, they actively appreciate them as essential components of their growth and eventual triumph. This perspective transforms the emotional experience of difficulty from one of frustration and resistance to one of curious exploration and even excitement. When you genuinely believe that every experience contributes to your ultimate success, that the universe is conspiring for rather than against you, you establish a psychological environment where anxiety diminishes and inspired action flourishes. As you progress in mastering these principles, you will notice a fascinating phenomenon: the acceleration of manifestation. Initial achievements may require substantial time and effort. As you overcome inertia and establish new patterns of thought and action, but as these patterns become established, as your subconscious mind fully embraces your vision and your conscious mind develops disciplined focus, the gap between thought and manifestation progressively narrows. What once required years may eventually occur in months, then weeks, then days, as your mind becomes an increasingly efficient converter of thought energy into physical reality. This acceleration occurs partly because success builds upon success. Each achievement, however modest, provides evidence that reinforces your belief in the efficacy of these principles. Each demonstration of the thought to gold conversion process strengthens your faith in your creative capacity. Each victory increases your confidence, and this confidence attracts greater opportunities and more capable collaborators. The modest entrepreneur, whose first venture succeeds, finds that raising capital for subsequent enterprises becomes progressively easier. The artist whose early works gain recognition finds doors opening that were previously closed. The professional, whose specialized knowledge solves one significant problem, is soon invited to address even greater challenges. Beyond this compounding of external results, the acceleration occurs because your mind itself becomes more disciplined. Through consistent application of these principles, the ability to maintain focused concentration, to visualize with sensory richness, to believe with unwavering conviction, these mental skills strengthen through deliberate practice, just as physical muscles develop through consistent exercise. What initially requires conscious effort eventually becomes second nature, enabling you to manifest with increasing efficiency and precision. As your manifestation ability accelerates, you enter the realm of what Napoleon Hill called infinite intelligence, a state of heightened awareness and intuitive knowing that transcends conventional analytical thinking. You begin to receive insights, ideas, and opportunities through seemingly coincidental encounters. unexpected inspirations, and spontaneous realizations. The Spanish poet Federico Garcia Lorca called the state duende a mysterious power that seizes the artist and elevates their work beyond technical skill into the realm of enchantment and magic. This intuitive intelligence is not supernatural or mystical, though it often feels that way to those experiencing it. It is the natural result of a mind so attuned to its objectives, so receptive to relevant information, that it processes data below the threshold of conscious awareness. The entrepreneur who senses a market shift before concrete evidence appears. The investor who feels drawn to a particular opportunity without immediately knowing why. The artist who follows a creative impulse that later proves brilliantly appropriate to all, are accessing this expanded intelligence. To cultivate this intuitive capacity, you must learn to quiet the analytical mind at strategic intervals, creating space for subtler perceptions to emerge. Meditation, time in nature, artistic engagement, and physical activity can all serve as pathways to this receptive state. The mind constantly engaged in logical analysis and verbal thinking cannot hear the whispers of intuition that often contain the most valuable guidance for converting your highest thoughts into their golden equivalent. As you integrate these various principles and practices, you gradually transform yourself from a passive victim of circumstance into the active creator of your experience. This transformation is the ultimate purpose of the thought-to-gold conversion process, not merely to acquire specific achievements or possessions, but to become the conscious author of your life story rather than a character buffeted by forces beyond your control. This state of conscious authorship brings with it a profound sense of personal freedom. The individual who has mastered the conversion of thought into physical reality is no longer dependent on external conditions for their sense of security, significance, or satisfaction. They carry within themselves the knowledge that they can create whatever circumstances they require for their fulfillment and growth. Economic downturns, technological disruptions, social changes, developments that might devastate those who feel powerless, become merely new landscapes in which to apply their creative capacity. With this freedom comes an equally profound responsibility. The power to influence reality through thought is neither trivial nor inconsequential. The energy you project through your consistent thoughts and emotions affects not only your own experience but ripples outward to influence countless others. The visionary leader whose thoughts crystallize into a world-changing organization impacts thousands or millions of lives. The artist whose inner vision manifests as transcendent beauty shifts the consciousness of all who encounter their work. The parent whose thoughts of limitless potential for their child create an environment that nurtures greatness influences generations yet unborn. This responsibility requires a level of mental discipline and ethical clarity often neglected in materialistic interpretations of success principles. If thoughts truly create reality, then mental hygiene becomes a moral imperative rather than merely a strategy for personal achievement. The mind preoccupied with thoughts of lack, limitation, resentment, or destructive intent cannot help but manifest corresponding conditions, regardless of conscious intentions or superficial affirmations to the contrary. The true master of thought-to-gold conversion understands that the quality of their thinking determines not only what they achieve, but who they become in the process of achievement. The individual who manifests financial abundance through manipulation, deception, or exploitation of others has not mastered these principles, but distorted them, creating spiritual poverty in the midst of material plenty. Conversely, the one who creates prosperity through genuine value creation, who elevates others through their achievements, who maintains integrity in the pursuit of their vision, manifests gold not only in their circumstances, but in their character. As you apply these principles with increasing mastery, you will discover that your greatest fulfillment comes not from the possession of material achievements but from the experience of creative expression itself. The joy of the painter lies not primarily in the completed canvas, but in the ecstatic moment of inspired creation. The satisfaction of the entrepreneur emerges not primarily from the accumulated wealth but from the exhilarating process of building something of value where nothing existed before. The reward of any worthy achievement is not merely its external result, but the person you must become in order to attain it. This truth reveals the ultimate purpose of existence itself, not the accumulation of possessions or accomplishments, but the continuous expansion of consciousness, capability, and creative expression. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, designs the journey of achievement to develop the achiever. The obstacles you encounter on the path to your desires are not arbitrary impediments, but necessary resistance, strengthening your capacities just as gravity strengthens the physical body. The desires that animate your heart are not random or accidental, but precisely calibrated catalysts for your growth and the contribution you are designed to make. As you master the conversion of thoughts into their physical equivalent, as your daily experience provides increasing evidence of your creative power, you begin to recognize yourself as an integral part of the universal creative process, rather than a separate entity struggling against it. You understand that the same intelligence that orchestrates the movement of galaxies, that coordinates the intricate processes of a living cell, that guides the unfolding of a rose from seed to blossom, expresses itself through your conscious awareness and creative imagination. This recognition dissolves the artificial boundary between the spiritual and material dimensions of existence. The ancient alchemists sought to transform base metals into gold, but their deeper quest was the transformation of consciousness itself from the lead of limited perception to the gold of enlightened awareness. In the same way, your journey of converting thoughts into their material equivalent ultimately reveals itself as the pathway to converting your entire being from limited thinking into expanded consciousness, from the constricted identity of the ego to the boundless identity of the creative spirit. From this expanded awareness, you recognize that the true purpose of material success is to provide a foundation for meaningful contribution. The wealth you generate is not an end in itself, but a means of expanding your influence and increasing your capacity to serve. The knowledge you acquire is valuable not primarily for the status or advantages it provides, but for its potential application in addressing human needs and elevating human consciousness. The platform of influence you build exists not to gratify your ego, but to amplify your message and magnify your impact. This perspective transforms work from mere labor into joyful service, from obligation into opportunity. The individual who recognizes their role in the universal creative process no longer needs external motivation or artificial incentives to take action. Their action flows naturally from their alignment with purpose, from their recognition that they are a unique instrument through which universal intelligence expresses itself in time and space. Their reward comes not only from what they receive, but from what they become and what they give in the process of achievement. As you integrate these principles into the fabric of your daily experience, as the conversion of thought into gold becomes your natural way of operating rather than an occasional achievement, you become a living demonstration of human potential and inspiration to all who encounter you. Through your example, others glimpse their own dormant capabilities. Through your achievements, they recognize possibilities previously invisible to them. Through your presence, they experience an energetic transmission that awakens their own sleeping giants of potential. This is the ultimate gold that emerges from the alchemy of consciousness, not merely the manifestation of specific desires, but the transformation of yourself into a catalyst for the elevation of all you touch. As you convert your highest thoughts into their physical equivalent, you simultaneously convert yourself from a seeker of success into a source of inspiration, from a pursuer of achievement into a beacon of possibility, from one who takes from life into one who adds immeasurable value to the human experience. The journey of mastering the art of converting thoughts into gold never ends, for human potential knows no final boundary or ultimate limitation. Each summit reached reveals new heights to climb. Each capability developed uncovers new capacities to express. Each desire fulfilled awakens new aspiration previously dormant. This is the magnificent obsession that animates history's greatest achievers, not the static accumulation of accomplishments, but the dynamic, continuous expansion of creative expression and contribution. In this moment, this precise moment of recognition, you stand at the threshold of a new chapter in your own journey. The principles you have absorbed are not merely concepts to be understood intellectually, but living forces to be applied immediately and consistently. The gap between your current reality and your desired achievement is not an obstacle, but an opportunity, a canvas on which to demonstrate the creative power that pulses within you. The time for hesitation, for doubt, for smaller thinking has passed. The time for bold vision, for unwavering belief, for committed action has arrived. Remember always that the ability to convert thoughts into gold is your birthright, your natural inheritance as a creative being. It is not reserved for special individuals with rare gifts or favorable circumstances. It operates with mathematical precision for anyone who applies its principles with understanding and persistence. The only variable is your willingness to claim this power through consistent practice of the mental and emotional disciplines required for its expression. Begin now, not tomorrow. Not when conditions seem more favorable, not when doubts have subsided, but in this precise moment to implement what you have learned. Select one desire that burns within you, define it with crystal clarity, infuse it with emotional energy, believe in its inevitable realization. Take one specific action toward its attainment, focus on it with concentrated attention, persist. Despite temporary setbacks, cultivate supportive relationships, appreciate the process along with the outcome, and watch as the invisible gradually becomes visible. As thought energy transmutes into physical gold through the natural operation of universal law, the greatest adventure in human experience awaits you, the journey of conscious creation, of intentional evolution, of thought alchemy that transforms not only your circumstances, but your very being. Step forward with courage, advance with certainty, proceed with unwavering faith in the creative power that dwells within you, and know, with absolute conviction, that as you master the art of converting thoughts into gold, you fulfill the highest purpose of your existence and contribute to the elevation of human consciousness itself. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. This is your destiny calling. Answer with everything you are, and watch as the universe responds in kind, transforming your boldest dreams into magnificent reality. Consider the countless men and women throughout Spanish history who have demonstrated this principle of thought alchemy. From Isabel I of Castile, who united a kingdom and sponsored Columbus's voyage that changed world history, to modern entrepreneurs like Amancio Ortega, founder of Zara, who transformed the fashion industry with his innovative thinking. They did not possess supernatural powers or extraordinary advantages. They simply understood and applied these universal principles of mental creation with unwavering dedication. Each morning, as the Spanish sun rises over the horizon, it brings with it 86,400 seconds, 86,400 opportunities to direct your thoughts with purpose and conviction. Each of these moments represents a choice between reactive thinking, where external circumstances dictate your mental state, and creative thinking, where your intentional thoughts shape your external reality. This choice made moment by moment, day by day, ultimately determines the quality and direction of your entire life. The difference between the extraordinary life and the ordinary one is not found in circumstances or connections, in education or inheritance, but in this fundamental capacity to convert invisible thought into visible reality. The streets of Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia are filled with individuals possessing the same essential creative capacity. Yet only a small percentage will fully activate this dormant power. Will you be among them? Will you join the ranks of those who refuse to accept limitation, who reject mediocrity, who demand greatness from themselves regardless of external circumstances? Remember that the thoughts you consistently entertain are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of universal intelligence. Nurture thoughts of limitation, and your life becomes a garden of constraints. Cultivate thoughts of abundance, and your experience blossoms with opportunity and prosperity. This is not positive thinking in the superficial sense. It is the practical application of mental forces as tangible as electricity or gravity, forces that operate with mathematical precision, according to immutable laws. The great Spanish filmmaker Pedro Almodóvar did not achieve international acclaim by doubting his creative vision or conforming to conventional expectations. He repeatedly transformed his unique thoughts and perspectives into cinematic gold, creating films that express his singular viewpoint with unwavering authenticity. In the same way, your thought-to-gold conversion must be uniquely yours, an authentic expression of your deepest values, and highest vision rather than an imitation of someone else's journey. As you integrate these principles into your daily practice, you will likely encounter moments of doubt, periods where the gap between your internal vision and external reality seems too vast to bridge. In these critical moments, remember that the universe operates according to a principle of gestation. Just as an olive tree requires years of growth before bearing fruit, just as a Rioja wine needs time to develop its complex character, your grandest desires require an appropriate incubation period before emerging in physical form. During this gestation period, maintain unwavering faith while simultaneously taking consistent action. Faith without action is merely wishful thinking. Action without faith is mechanical motion, lacking the vital energy of conviction. It is in the union of absolute belief and appropriate action that the true alchemy occurs, the mysterious transformation of thought energy into physical equivalent that has fascinated and inspired humanity's greatest minds throughout the centuries. The practice of converting thoughts into gold will transform not only your external circumstances, but your internal landscape as well. As you witness the manifestation of your clearly defined desires, your confidence in these principles grows. From intellectual acceptance to bone-deep knowing, what began as a practice becomes a way of life, a natural state of being in which you recognize yourself as both the painter and the canvas, both the sculptor and the stone, both the composer and the instrument of your life's masterpiece. This transformation represents the ultimate purpose of human existence, not merely to exist and survive, but to create and thrive, to expand beyond perceived limitations into the full expression of your unique potential. In this expansion, you honor the creative force that expresses itself through you and contribute to the elevation of all humanity. For as you demonstrate what is possible through the deliberate application of these principles, you silently invite others to recognize and develop their own creative capacity. As the Spanish philosopher José Ortega y Gasset wrote, "Life is a series of collisions with the future. It is not the sum of what we have been, but what we yearn to be." Your yearnings, your deepest desires are not random or accidental, but purposeful impulses guiding you toward your highest expression and greatest contribution. Honor them, trust them, follow them with unwavering conviction, and watch as they lead you to achievements beyond your current imagination. The art of converting thoughts into gold awaits your mastery. The universal principles stand ready to serve your highest vision. The creative intelligence that orchestrates the cosmos flows through your mind at this very moment, eagerly awaiting your conscious direction. Seize this power with both hands. Claim your rightful inheritance as a creator rather than a creature of circumstance, and step boldly into the magnificent future that has been waiting for your arrival since the beginning of time itself.